Hi, I'm Kimberly Butler and welcome to my vlog. Media Watchdogs, who's watching who?
The media is supposed to be the watchdog of government. And when you have less journalism, you have fewer people holding those in power accountable, exposing what's going on behind the scenes.
I have a 21-year-old son who has never read a newspaper. You know, the joke in the house is you want to hide something from Cruz, stick it in the New York Times. And yet he's getting his information and he watches the Comedy Central shows. And when Stewart exposed Kramer with the use of old video and public statements that he made him appear to be a dishonest, unscrupulous manipulator, he was doing a 60 Minutes.
The success of The Daily Show and The Colbert Report, aside from the fact that they're extremely funny, is that they're doing something very important that journalists in the mainstream media forgot how to do in this country.
Where were the real reporters on this story? I'm a fake journalist, and I'm embarrassed these guys scooped me. Let's get to work, people!
Question authority. That's the power of these shows.
Well, I enjoy The Daily Show and The Colbert Report as much as anybody. I think they're fun and funny, and I'd like to think I have a good sense of humor, and I don't mind that they're biased to the left. But the problem becomes when people actually think that that's news. And you know what? It's becoming more and more difficult to argue with them.
They're so good. And, there was I don't know if you call it a cliche, but it's just sort of a common parlance for a while, that you could get your news by watching The Daily Show. Now, obviously, that's not the case. And I think Stewart be particularly, not outraged, but he would make a joke out of hearing that. But you could certainly, if you just tuned into The Daily Show, you could certainly learn a lot, which is no excuse for not tuning into network news and not reading the New York Times. But of course The Daily Show is a source of information.
Now there is no such thing as television journalism. And so everything now is shaded in some way, shape, or form. In fact, if you're not shaded in some way, shape, or form, it's almost as if you're not doing your job. Because of the nature of appealing to different demographics, and as the fragmentation of the audience continues to grow more and more corrosive, I think it's only going to get worse, and people are going to be, opinion journalism is going to be more and more frequent. In fact, the only benefit I see to that is that hopefully the audience will force newscasters to be more open about their own personal opinions, so that at least we'll know where people are coming from and to be able to evaluate what they're saying for ourselves.
I think there's a real danger in the media over the years that they've been paid to be smarter than the rest of us. Now, the fact is the rest of us includes doctors, lawyers, video people, all kinds of people, college graduates, not college graduates, people who've lived everywhere in the world. It's not one person who can just tell everybody else what's good. One of the things that's useful about what we do in surveying is we can show differences of opinion.
Bill O'Reilly has been #1 for 110 months. Something ridiculous like that. I mean, Bill O'Reilly is not hoodwinking 4 or 5 or 6 million people every night. There's something that makes him more popular than Keith Olbermann. I mean, what it is, I don't know. If I knew, I would can it and I would sell it, in some media lab.
Part of appealing, part of connecting on television is being able to connect through a camera. And this is a skill that Bill O'Reilly has. So again, you have the whole message and messenger. I mean, Bill O'Reilly is a likable guy. He also, he's got strong convictions. And there are a whole lot of people out there who share those convictions, so they like to hear them reinforced.
Clearly, the reason why Fox News Channel exists is because the other channels have gone so far to the left that it has created this massive void on the center right. There's an enormous number of people, apparently about 3 or 4 million people at any given moment, who want to get news but don't want to be insulted by the left-wing slant of the major networks. and who also like watching attractive women on television.
Journalism is fallible, journalism can never be totally objective, but the point of it is to stand up to people in power, to ask the awkward questions, to be difficult, not to care about money. No journalist gets paid anything. So, they need to really care about putting people who are doing things wrong or saying things wrong or being inaccurate, being hypocritical, but putting them up on a podium and allowing the public in general to make their mind up about them.
Walter Cronkites of the time were getting more respect than people do now, and that was because they were trusted. I mean, that was the whole thing about Cronkite. When he said something, no matter how absurd it was or how absurd it seemed, you knew that it was Walter Cronkite, and therefore it was true.
When I was a kid watching someone like Walter Cronkite, I didn't say, is he a conservative? Is he a liberal? I didn't say, oh, there's that old white man. I said, no, there's Walter Cronkite. There's someone I can trust. I do believe he's telling me the news. I don't think we have a Walter Cronkite type figure today. And I'm not sure Walter Cronkite would sell today. I think he would be seen as not telegenic and not hip and not different enough. And I don't think he would Twitter.
Walter Cronkite only gave an opinion once, and it changed the course of the world, and it saved countless lives. He said, we're losing the Vietnam War. This war has been lost. That's not a direct quote. And President Johnson said, if I've lost Walter Cronkite, I've lost America.
Walter Cronkite ended the war in Vietnam. I don't think any of us since then have had that kind of influence, because now there's so many more anchors and outlets and media around. But how much they can inject themselves is, again, to the extent that their audience allows. There's no such thing as objectivity. The most you can hope from your anchor is factual accuracy, emotional and intellectual honesty, and transparency. Then whether or not the guy's a left-winger or a right-winger, a Republican or a Democrat, those are not the most relevant things.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Butler. Thanks for watching. Join us next time for new media news.